Hi. So I understand that this video is very niche, um, but I'm recording it primarily for members of my Facebook group, Bruce Kitchen Facebook group, who are, like me, are also fans of Andrea Romanazzi. I just want to let you know that the sound in the background is my dishwasher. Like I said, people, and many times in my videos, it's cinema verite. All right. So, I own 6 of Andrea's books, and I'm not gonna review all 6 of these books, primarily because I haven't. One I read when I first got it, and the other ones I dip into them whenever I'm in the mood. But these are very dense books. Andrea Romanazzi is a prolific author. I own 6 of his books. I'm pretty sure he's written. No, I'm not pretty sure. I know for a fact he's written more than these. A little bit. It's and I would probably own all his books. And no, that's not true. I own some of his other books on Kindle. Okay, I'm only going to talk about the ones I have physically here. I do own his some of his other books on Kindle. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Andrea Romanazzi. Andrea Romanazzi, he's in Italy. He is an author. He's a prolific author of all things witchcraft, and primarily he's a historian. He's a historian. He's a researcher. I think up until pandemic, he actually would travel on site to do his research, and that's what informs his books. I'm a big fan. I make no secret of it. I was I still am honored that when I wrote my book, he wrote the foreword to my book, and that to me means a lot. But the reason, again, I think I already said at the start of this video, that I'm just doing this video for my friends on the Bruce Kitchen Facebook group who wanted to know some information about these books that are available. So let me begin. The author, again, his path, from what I could tell from his online presence, is very informed currently by Druidism. He writes on different subjects. It's very dense. His writing's very dense. It's very evidence-based, practice-based, historically research. He researches the history. This is not. How can I put this? These are really valuable books, people. And if you read Italian, you need to own these books. If you are of Italian origin, or even Italian in Italy, like native Italian, I think that no one's talking about these books that I know of. And frankly, in my opinion, my humble opinion, they're the best of the best in terms of, if you're following a path, an earth-based spirituality, if you're practicing witch. He writes on witchcraft and shamanism and paganism. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, I'm biased. I'm a huge fan. I've been following him for over 15 years. And let me begin. So I'll wrap it up with where you could get these books. So the first book I ever got was La Stregoneria in Italia. Scongiuri, amuleti e riti della tradizione. So this was, I'm pretty sure this was his first book. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. And if you're interested in witchcraft from, like, and I'm talking like not neo-paganism, I'm talking if you're interested in Italian witchcraft, Italian folk magic, if you're an Italian speaker, or if you're of Italian origin and you can read Italian, if like me you went to Italian school on Saturdays when you were growing up and you're able to read Italian, or you want to learn Italian and you want something that is something to read that you actually are interested in, I highly recommend this book. I think that, again, there's a lot of focus. There's been a lot of focus in the last 20-something years on Italian witchcraft that is very new, is neo-pagan, and if you're interested in the witchcraft of your ancestors, this is the book. Again, that's La Regoneria Nital, Scongiuri, amuleti e riti della tradizione. At the back, it says, nel patrimonio italiano di antica cultura popolare, un mondo magico racchiude l'essenza di un'arcaica religiosità nei suoi rituali di vita, di morte e soprattutto d'amore. So this is, in Italy, the ancient culture, folk culture, popolare, folk culture of the magical world, encompasses the essence of an archaic religiosity in its rituals of life and death and overall love. So if you read Italian, recommend it. This, because for me, this is like my personal interest. I'm interested in shamanism. I've always been interested in shamanism. My path is very in tune with shamanism. Not before you get a little excited because, you're young and you think I'm culturally appropriating. No. Shamanism exists in many, many cultures. All ancient cultures have a version of shamanism. And this is the word we use nowadays to describe this kind of practice, which is first direct revelation, to use the language of people like Sandra Ingerman and oh my God, that gentleman that just passed away. But to use the current language of shamanism today, the path of direct revelation. So that for me, that's close to my heart. It is very much in tune with my spiritual beliefs and experiences. And that's La Borsa dello Ciamano, Manuale Pratico al Neo-Shamanesimo. Oh my God, people, I'm sorry, but I should have practiced. I didn't. All right, let me try this again. La Borsa dello Ciamano, Manuale Pratico al Neo-Shamanesimo. This is a book on neo-shamanism. This is the kind of book that someone like myself would find a lot of inspiration in. I'm not going to read the back because, as you can see, it's quite a paragraph, and I don't want to pain your ears with my reading. But this is a really, really nice book. There's so much in here. There's lots of Celtic, and there's a lot of crossover. He draws together a lot of components from Celtic shamanism and Druidism and Roman and all that stuff. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But at the same time, this makes shamanism accessible, and it's not about cultural appropriation. It's about coming back to our roots as the human race and how we connected before man-made religion, how we connected to spirit, to the earth and everything. Love it. All right, next one. The next one is interesting. This is more of in the back he says una nuova interpretazione delle tradizioni sudamericane riviste in un'ottica sciamanico individuale. So in this one it's and un curioso viaggio attraverso religioni ancestrali mai dimenticate, and una guida pratica per colui che vuole avvicinarsi ad antichi ed affascinanti culti. This is lo sciamanesimo afro-amerindio, guida all'umbanda, candomblé e santeria per il praticante individuale. So this is basically, I love this book. I love this book because he visits Umbanda, like he did his research, right? He researched Umbanda, Candomblé, and Santeria, and he brings it. He discusses it in theory. He discusses it he discusses the principles of these belief systems. Now, these are all closed traditions, and he doesn't claim to let you into these closed traditions. What he does with this book is he invites you in, and he demystifies these traditions, and at the same time he connects them to each other and to other traditions that are more accessible. And basically, I thought this was really a wonderful read. This is absolutely fascinating. And as he states, it's for the solitary practitioner. So it's to give you an understanding that if you do feel a connection to shamanism, if you do feel a connection, because you know what? My parents were both Italian. Okay, my mom, there's a whole Slavic thing going on there as well. But I find myself very drawn to these kind of traditions because originally we all, genetically, from the beginning of time, came from Africa. And all magic comes from Africa. Make no mistakes, my friends. It's all interrelated. The magic, the witchcraft and the folk magic and all that stuff of Italy and Portugal and wherever it is you come from, Europe, came from Africa. The witchcraft and folk magic, curanderismo, that of, let's say, Mexico, and the Santeria of Cuba, that all came from Africa and influenced by it being filtered through Europe. The next book, this surprised me that he wrote this. I got all excited. And so the next 3 I just recently received. So I can only tell you my first impressions of them. Guida alla Dea Madre in Italia, itinerari fra culti e tradizioni popolari. So, una serie di emozionanti itinerari sorry people, let's try this again. Una serie di emozionanti itinerari in cui rivivere gli arcaici sapori della Grande Madre, fra riti, tradizioni e culti incentrati sulla divinità femminile in Italia. This book is about the goddess in Italy. and goddess religions, and historical. And it's specifically, of course, in Italy. So if you're interested in goddess, any kind of goddess tradition in Italy, and a lot of his books have pictures in them, and I gotta tell you, the photos are always incredible. This is a photo. Of course, I have to land on this one. My family's from Abruzzo as well. My father's grandfather was from Bari, but my dad was born in Abruzzo. Abruzzo, Cocullo, festa dei serpari, la statua di San Domenico portata in processione ricoperta di serpenti. So, where my dad comes from, the region he comes from, Abruzzo, they have a holiday. They celebrate a saint, Saint Domenico, Saint Dominic, and snakes. The statue is carried in a procession, and he's covered in snakes. I just can't with snakes. But anyway, I find it funny. That's what I opened on. All right. The goddess tradition in Italy. All right. Goddess veneration. It's a guide to the goddess. A guide to the Great Mother in Italy. Beautiful. I'm very excited to read that. I scanned it, and I look forward to reading it. And when his title says in Italia, he tries to cover as many regions as he can. This one in particular, and this one was brought up in the Rue's Kitchen Facebook group for people because I wrote my book is specifically look at the title, look at the cover, okay? If you're of Italian descent, if you're native Italian, this is totally Southern Italian. My book focuses on the practices of the people in my family and my community who are from Central and Southern Italy. However, that's not the only place where magic was happening, or where people practiced magic and folk magic. Oh, and if you're, I don't know if I mentioned it, but in Italian, folk magic is magia popolare. Not popular like as in, popular like we use in the English language, but popolare meaning of the people. So I came up in my Rue's Kitchen Facebook group. Some people had posted questions. This goes back a few years, right? Every now and then, and it totally makes sense because not everybody's family is from Central and Southern Italy. So people were asking, like myself included. I'm half Central Italian and half from Northern Italian. Anyway, and then there's that hoary old chestnut I always bring up when speaking of Italy, that Italy itself is not homogeneous. If you were born in America, Australia, Canada, and your parents, let's say you're third generation or even further, right? Even later, you may not, and you perceive being Italian through the lens of Italian American, Canadian, Italian American, Italo Canadese, Italian, Canadian Italian, or Italian Canadian, or Austro Italiano, or I don't even know what you. If you are in Australia, what do you call yourself? Do you call yourself Australian Italian? Italian Australian? What do you call yourself? If you are first generation, second, whatever. So if you're a descendant, if you're an Italian descendant, you probably, and you don't have, maybe your parents, like I said, maybe you're third generation. Fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever it may be, you probably don't perceive Italy correctly, because you perceive Italy through the lens of North America, for example, because that's where I live, where Italy is all homogeneous and it's basically spaghetti and meatballs and pizza. However, it's Italy. and I've mentioned this before, but just to do a little recap again, Italy is a very young country. Italy is just in 1860. It was unified. Italy was originally 20 regions, individual, independent, culturally diverse, like with their own language / dialect, so that then became unified in 1860-ish. So naturally, someone, and you may have experienced this, right? If you live in a neighborhood where everybody is an Italian descendant, everyone's Italian American from Sicily, well, you have a lot in common because your ancestors all came from Sicily. You're not going to have a lot in common, or you're going to be distinctly different from someone, from a group of people that live in a neighborhood like where I live here in British Columbia, where primarily the Italian descendants here are from northern Italy. Many here are from Friuli. They're from, you know what I mean? Like, that's northern Italy people. Culturally, significantly different from people that hail from central and southern Italy. So, why am I doing this big, long-winded introduction? Because I wrote a book that focused on central and southern Italian folk practices. Andrea wrote a book about the pagan cults of Piemonte and Val d'Aosta, and that is northern Italy. Mind you, like I said, this is specifically to those regions. It may share, and it does. It shares a lot, let's say, with other regions, but this is really specific. And it's specific especially because it focuses on that region, its history, and history is everything. If you're interested in the witchcraft of your people, you're interested in the folk practices of your people, don't worry about finding books about witchcraft. Primarily, you need, the first thing you need to do is learn the history. The history that you can dig up will contain the magic. So, this one, I was really excited to receive it. I can't wait to read it. And someone had actually, and the reason I'm featuring it here, one, it's because one of my 6 books, but also some people had posted on the Roost Kitchen Facebook group, is there such a thing as a book on pagan practices or witchcraft of Piemonte? And this gentleman wrote the book. So if your people are from Piemonte or Val d'Aosta, here it is, people. Culti Pagani. It's got a little label here where it says Druidismo Antico e Contemporaneo, which is ancient and contemporary Druidism. And if you've been reading any kind of books on Celtic magic and Druidism, you recognize the artwork on this cover. If you find yourself, if you are of Italian origin like myself, and you find yourself drawn to Druidism, there's a reason. Because you know what? Chances are your ancestors practiced something like that. I mentioned it months ago when I read, I think I did a quick review of a book I read. I can't even remember the title of it. It doesn't matter. but it was on Druidism, where, you know, the first 5, 6 chapters, I'm going, oh my freaking God, this has everything in common with the folk practices of my people. So, so I'll read the back cover. Che legame c'è tra Maometto e le divinità celtiche? And this made me laugh. It's like, what link is there between Muhammad and Celtic gods? Qual è la relazione tra Maria Maddalena e l'uomo selvatico? What's the relation between Mary Magdalene and, I'm guessing l'uomo selvatico is early man. What do we have here? Cosa rimane dei culti sciamanici in Piemonte? What remains of shamanic cults in Piemonte? Or shamanic practices in Piemonte? Quali sono le tracce che la religione degli antenati ha lasciato ad Aosta? What are the traces left from the religion of our ancestors that are still found in Aosta? Che significato ha il colore bruno delle Vergini Alpine? So this one's, again, I haven't read the book, so I look forward to finding out what that is. What's the meaning of the color brown with the Alpine Virgins? So I look forward to reading what that's about. Then there's these Celtic words, people, that I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher them badly. Cromlech, menhir e pietre della fertilità, perché sono ancora ritenuti magici. So again, these Celtic monuments and fertility monuments, like stones that are fertility monuments, why are they still considered magic? Formule magiche, masche e diavoli, come e dove trovarli? So there's magic formulas, and all that stuff is in here as well, and where to find them. What else does it say here? Questo e molto altro per il viandante che voglia addentrarsi. Oh my God, people, sorry. But this and much more for the seeker that is looking to penetrate these secrets. Tra I luoghi pagani del Piemonte e della Val d'Aosta. So this is specifically focusing on locations, pagan locations in Piemonte and Val d'Aosta. So I look forward to reading this. It has photographs in it. And these are photographs he's taken on his trips, right? It's really beautiful. Okay. The last one. I saved this one for last. This one is for you, Antonella. All right. And Antonina, both of you. Oh my goodness, that's right. 2 of you asked me about it, and you both have names after the same saint. All right. This is 57 storie, leggende, curiosità, ricette e folklore di Bari e dintorni. This I can't wait to dig in. This is a beautiful book. This contains, if your family hails from Bari, this has folklore, recipes, magic, folk practices, history. This, if your family comes from Bari and you read Italian, or you know someone who is from Bari or whose family comes from Bari and they read Italian, this is a beautiful book to get for them, because it encompasses everything. It encompasses superstition, the history of how Bari was created, like, who founded Bari. It has werewolves, vampires, witches, fairies, all kinds of creatures that are known to inhabit this area. Rites and spells and that are really ingrained in the tradition of the area. And oh my gosh, people, I'm telling you, if you read Italian, this is, and you come from Bari, this is, anyways, I just can't wait. I can't wait. I scanned it and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to have time to settle in with this one. And even like recipes, oh my God. And of course, pictures that he's taken are in his book. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So, Antonella and Antonina, you asked me about this book. And absolutely, absolutely, if your family or, if your family or friends come from Bari, totally worth it. Where can you get these books? Okay, so here's the thing. 15 years ago, when I first started following Andrea, he had to send me, he's so kind, he sent me his first book, and it's signed. The rest of them, and I have books on Kindle, like some of his other books on Kindle, because I live in Canada and I don't always have access to, it's kind of hard, people. If you live in Canada, it's a little, Amazon is a bit shitty, but I went to Amazon.com. I got some of his books on Kindle from Amazon.com, and I got the rest of these literally from the Book Depository, because Book Depository is typically, it says Book Depository Canada when you do a search, but Book Depository is generally, I think their warehouses are in the UK and in Australia. And the last 3 that I ordered, which were these 3, these came like super quick, crazy, like 2 weeks. Free shipping worldwide. So if you live in Europe, you could get his books easily on Amazon, whether it's amazon.co.uk or it's amazon.it. You live in Europe, they're more accessible to you. If you live everywhere else, you live in Canada, I've had the best luck with the Book Depository. And again, like I said, free shipping worldwide. Thank goodness, it helps. So I hope this video was helpful to you, my friends. I'd like to send a special salute and blessings, sub benedict, to everybody on the Roost Kitchen Facebook group. And make sure to make your zeppole. Make sure to make your zeppole this week for San Giuseppe on Friday. It's San Giuseppe on Friday. And remember, the feast for San Giuseppe is commensurate with the blessings you received in 2020. Now, pandemic aside, although historically the feast to San Giuseppe was commensurate, like if you come from, depending on where you come from, typically if you're from Campania, the feast you throw, the celebration you prepare for San Giuseppe was commensurate to the blessings you received in 2020. My understanding from my friends who are from Sicily is that they throw a big party for him anyway, hoping he's going to do better next year if the previous year was not so good. I say, you know what? Let's just count our blessings and do a nice feast for you and your family and your bubble for San Giuseppe on Friday. Make your zeppole, whether they are the fried dough kind or the cream puffs stuffed with custard and the sour amarena, cherry jam on top. While I'm talking about the cream puffs with the custard and the amarena cherry jelly on top, or jam on top, those symbolize being able to take a little bitter with the sweet, which we've had to do the last year. Anyway, again, to you and your family, I wish you many blessings. Sab Beneric, e viva San Giuseppe.